Welcome back, everyone. Today I wanted to switch gears a little bit off of the smallmouth fishing and make sure you guys have some good spots to fish for pre-spawn largemouth. And the area I'm going to focus on is around Catawba and Marblehead, this whole area here. I'm going to go over some key spots where I've caught some really nice pre-spawn largemouth and where areas to look where they might group up. Normally I start fishing for these largemouth, and I'll only go up a couple times for largemouth, but when I do, I target dates late April and early May. I'm going to start in West Harbor, move to East Harbor, and then I'll go over some Main Lake spots. But mainly I'm focusing on areas, highways coming into these marinas and trying to target that first stop when they get in there and start feeding. Because now I may be wrong on this, but I believe a lot of these largemouth, a large percentage of them are coming from Main Lake. They're coming into these harbors and to spawn. In the spring, they come in and they stage, and they're coming from the Main Lake. Now I may be wrong on that. I know there's resident populations in both harbors, and a lot of tournament fish get released in there, and some of them might stay, but I believe a lot of these fish are coming from this Main Lake. With that out of the way, I'm going to start over here in West Harbor. If you guys aren't familiar with West Harbor, there's a couple ramps to launch from. Right here is that it? Yeah, that's the public. That's West Harbor ramp, the public free ramp. Some people call it Midway. I'll show it to you on Google Maps. It's right there. That's where most of the bass tournaments go out of, that launch out of West Harbor there. There's another launch ramp you guys might not be familiar with. If you take this state route all the way up here, there's East Harbor State Park Marina right here. It does cost a fee. It was $7 last year. I haven't been up there this year, so I'm not sure what the cost is this year. But I used to buy. You can buy a yearly pass for I think $70 or $75, something like that, and you can launch this ramp all year. It's great when you think other ramps are going to be busy. Like if there's a tournament, the other ramps, or Missouri is out of control with speedboats, stuff like that. This is a pretty cool ramp. Now there's only one lane, but basically you just pull in here, pull around, and go in right there, and this is where you pay right here. Okay, let's go over some spots to try in West Harbor. Now I don't fish West Harbor as often as I do East Harbor in the spring. That's middle, but I'll give you some spots where some of these pre-spawn fish are staging at. Now, coming into the harbor on the north entrance, there's two entrances there pretty close together, but they're a long ways away from the inside, but short ways from the outside. So I'm going to start on this north entrance here. I'm focusing on structure and high current areas in the main run coming into these harbors. So the first spot is both sides of this channel. Now you can always fish this channel. My boat's a little bigger. I can't get into these channels without getting run over. So what I do is I pull off to the side here, and I fish this south point right here and this point right here. And let me show it to you on Google Maps. It looks a little different. So I'm fishing this point right here. That's a gas pump, so just watch boat traffic. But this gas pump right here, and then you can cast under this. A lot of times those largemouth will get up under this dock here or sit right on that corner. And then to the south, this area right here, this is all rock right here. Shell bed type stuff. Right here, I've done really good just dragging tubes across that area. And you can throw a jig, you can throw pretty much whatever you want in the spring. But I do not. The only thing I don't throw in the spring is a moving bait when I'm fishing like this. I'll fish something dark colored, like a jig, or 9 times out of 10, I'm throwing a tube. Rage craw works well as well, or some type of stick bait, 5-inch Senko type bait, something like that. But those 2 spots, I would try those 2 spots, and then come down to the channel. I'm sure there's fish sitting in here. I just kind of bypass that area. So I fish these 2 points right here, come into the channel, and then I'm going to focus on where there's a long wall. It's got to be this. So this wall right here, for some reason, just on certain days in the spring, pre-spawn, it just loads up with fish. And it probably has to do with the bait moving around in the marina. You know, there's perch in there, shad in there, shiners in there, other types of fish, gobies, whatever. But these fish, for some reason, this spot is always worth a check right here, especially in pre-spawn mode. Now, spawn, these fish are going to come in here and make a bed, or go over here and make a bed. But right in here has been done very well in the spring. And then down here, I mean, this spot's popular all year, but this island that they built in front of this marina to keep the waves off these people's docks, the inside of this, I don't fish the outside in the spring. I fish the inside of this. Now, it does get shallow, so I gotta sit in the channel over here and kind of cast to it. My boat drafts quite a bit, but I'll cast to the inside of this, work my way all the way down, fish this opening. This bowl is super good. Now, more towards the spawn, but I've seen them in there pre-spawn as well. So don't overlook that. And then what I do is I fish every dock piling on the way back through here. What I think happens is, I mean, I might be totally wrong on this again, but what I think happens is these fish come in here and they try to find the first spot to stop, and they just shoot in here and stage up. And then, you know, during the spawn's a different time. I mean, they're in here, you see the beds and stuff like that. But those 4 spots, what I hit 4 spots right there, that's pretty much where I'm fishing at in West Harbor. Now, if I'm not getting bit in these spots, I'll start looking around other areas, but those are the 4 key spots that I'm hitting in West Harbor. This pre-spawn, I'm talking when you're looking for that big trophy largemouth bite. Those are the 4 spots that I'm hitting in West Harbor. Okay, let's move down to East Harbor. In East Harbor, I had a pretty good experience last year. Fished early May. It was real early May. 1st or 2nd of May. I came in here. Buddy was in here fishing, one of my friends, and I had smallmouth fished in the morning, and I came in here in the afternoon, and I called him, and to my surprise, he was still there. It was late afternoon, and he said he was having a 50 fish day, him and the guy that he was fishing with. That was 1st or 2nd day into May last year. And so I came in here and I asked him, I said, hey, are they sitting on anything specific? He said, structure. He said, if you find a log, there's a fish on it. Find a dock piling, there's a fish on it. So my buddy and I came in. I was on the phone with him. I came in into the marina here, turned right. And like I said, I got a larger boat, so I can't get up into this stuff or any of this stuff. So I came in here, threw the trolling motor down. We made it to about this dock piling. I caught a 4-pounder. Partner caught a 4-pounder off of this. I caught another 4-pounder. I mean, within 10 minutes, we had 20 pounds of largemouth on the boat. Fishing these docks. And it could have been just one of those days where we caught them when they came in from the lake and set up. And that was it. But what's interesting is I was up there for that for that whole week, and we went back the next day and had a banner day again, fishing the same stuff, and they were different fish. All 3+ pound fish. Nice big largemouth. So we ended up fishing this whole section right here, fished all the way down here and caught fish all the way up to here, and then went back and did the same thing. We never really left that whole area. So, and then we did good on, there's some wood chalked up in here. We were kind of like sitting over here, casting up into this wood, and did really good there as well. So I think it was just a structure bite. Any dock piling, any piece of wood really was holding the largemouth. So, and again, we might have hit it just right where those fish shot in off the lake. And, you know, because you're not going to get fishing like that in the summertime. They had to have come from the lake. So, just my opinion. Didn't really go past the mouth there. I mean, we launched at East Harbor that day and came out. First thing came out, went smallmouth fishing, came back in, fished right here, went straight back to the ramp, had a good day. So take that for what it is. And I'm not saying you can't get them earlier, but that May, right when the month turns May, seems like that's when it's on. But okay, let's move to the Main Lake. Now, just a couple spots on the Main Lake to focus on. Now this spot right here, the one that I'm going to tell you guys about, is I fished here in tournaments and stuff, and it's always good. It's always good for a limit. Most days, it's good for a limit. You're going to catch a lot of fish. It may there's big ones mixed in with small ones. So and these fish are here all year. So, and it's a pain to fish, but in front of Missouri, right here, there is a shell bed that stretches right here, pretty much from here all the way to here, with the top of it being right about, I don't know if you can see it now, right about here. Let's see what Navionics tells me. Yeah, it doesn't say anything. It just says shallow area. So now what I do is, and you'll see a steep, so right here is like a drop off. There's a shelf. It goes down to like 8-10 feet, something like that. And then there's a point that comes out underwater over here as well. And these fish, sometimes they're on the deep side of it, and sometimes they're on the top side of it. But even pre-spawn, these fish, there's fish sitting there. And it's a nice looking shell bed too. And when I get up on top of it, I've got about 5 foot of water, I think, up on top of it. And 9 times out of 10, you'll see me sitting, I'll be sitting right here, and I'm casting this way. So I'm going to cast across the top of it, fish shallow, drag something back shallow, or you can throw a crankbait, whatever you want to do. But I'll throw this way shallow. If I don't get bit in a couple casts, I'll start casting off the end of this shelf here and dragging it back up here. And you just got to figure out what's going to trigger that bite for these fish. And like I said, there's a point that comes out here as well. So sometimes I'll sit, that 1/10 of the time, I'll sit out deep and I'll cast shallow, 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 shallow. And then right off the end here, you'll see the shelf on your graph. Like if you run across it, you'll see the shelf. But there's a lot of fish that frequent this area. Now, the next spot is, if these fish aren't here, or you're only catching a few or catching small ones, Schrock's Marina. Now, I know that these guys sometimes get pissy about bass boats being in there. I've been running out of there before. You know, I just leave. I don't make a scene or nothing, but I've been in there, you know, during tournaments, and they'll make me leave. But I've been in here before and not really done as good as Schrock. I figured these fish would just shoot right into the first marina, but for some reason, this Schrock's marina, that's what holds them. So these end dock pilings here, this whole marina is good. If you had to skip an area, I would skip back here and fish only this front stuff. But this marina gets busy and just watch the boat traffic and stuff like that. But so if you're not doing good here, shoot into Schrocks and see what you can do in there. Okay, the next spot is, and you guys, everybody knows about these break walls. That's no secret. So I'm not even going to cover it. These pretty much same thing. Everybody fishes them. I've never fished them in the spring, but you know, like anybody else, they're good all year. These break. Just stay on the outside of them so you don't get in trouble with state park or whatever. End of these can be good. There was one more spot over this way. Okay, the inside bowl. I was trying to find the marina. Is it here? No, it's here. So the inside bowl here gets pretty shallow and gets choked up with grass in the summertime. But in the springtime, a lot of times when it's windy and it might be super pre-spawn, like right now, or mid-April or late April or something like that, sometimes these fish will get up in here and just kind of roam around. But just like Missouri, I'll sit in one spot and I'll fan cast across this bowl in here. I found those fish by chance a couple years ago and went back last year and caught a couple off of it as well. So I know they sit there late April, early May. So that's a pretty good spot, and don't really have a theory on why they sit there other than they can shoot in here and go through this bridge or spawn in these weeds here, or, you know, whatever. But, well, that's it for this video, guys. I wanted to get this in front of you before people start heading up and trying to fish for a pre-spawn largemouth. You know, a lot of guys will switch to largemouth if the lake's rough, like it has been every other week this spring. So if you guys are forced to largemouth fish, or that's what you like to do, maybe you like to just largemouth fish, you can run through all those spots in one day. If it's calm out here, you can hit all these West Harbor, shoot over to East Harbor, hit all those spots in East Harbor over in this corner, shoot out of East Harbor, hit all this Main Lake stuff that I talked about, and then shoot back over to West or wherever you want to launch from. You can hit all that stuff in a day if it's nice and calm. So hopefully you guys catch some fish off of that stuff. I go back to those spots every year and they pretty much produce for me. I can get a couple fish off of that stuff, and if I don't, I just kind of move around and try to pattern them. So, well, hopefully this helps. And just like always, please like and subscribe, and leave in the comments what do you guys want to see next. I'm trying to get all the spring videos out of the way. Next video will be a spring walleye video. I'll go over some jigging spots, you know, basically into the trolling season into May. So I'll cover the rest of April, early May for the jig bite, and then you get that transition into trolling in May. And I'm talking when the jig bite like completely dies on the reefs. I know you can jig all year. I know you can troll all year, but I'm talking about the transitions. So that'll be the next video.